Well, here in the studio with me is James Morgan, and I interviewed James back in 2016. This is following on from the interview I did with Tom, the programmer who was trying to supply for free, actually, an app to the bus vanning group here on the Isle of Man to track buses, because at the minute it appears there's no service going. But of course, as I was thinking, you were the first person that I talked to back in 2016.
Yeah, that's right.
You created the whole thing.
Yeah.
And without getting us into any trouble, can
No.
you take us through a timeline? What happened? Because it wasn't that happy at the end for you.
No, it was a bit of a travesty in the end. It started off where I was in work and I was on the brink of being made redundant at the aircraft hangar down in Ronald's Way, and I'd heard through the radio that they were doing this competition to create a bus app, and there was a strict timeline, and I put everything together for the timeline. And when it was judged, my app was the most complete, and it took very little further work really to release it. It was just a proof of concept at the time.
And that's when I caught up with you, because you'd won this award, but it wasn't quite ready at that stage, was it? Or what was?
It just didn't have the GTS advertising promotions and everything on it. So
it went live, didn't it?
Yes.
And I used that for some time, but then it stopped.
Yes. I think there'd been a ticketer app in the system before the competition was run, and they needed to fill a stopgap in the two, this gap between planning it and actually implementing it, and this is where the competition came in. And after about 6 months, I was chasing up Mark and Ian Longworth about the further development work, and nothing happened. I was offering to add further functionality to make it more user friendly, add the trams and the steam railway, because it was tracking the trams and steam railway anyway. It was just adding the timetables.
So all the work was done. It worked. You went back to added value, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it stopped. What do you know what's happened?
After about a year, Ian stopped supplying the timetable information. So none of that information was up to date anymore. But I still displayed it. It was just wasn't up to date. And then
But the trackers were tracking, weren't they? Whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the real. Because that's the bit that I really liked, is knowing where the bus is.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. And that's what everyone liked, was the fact that they could see when the buses were arriving. And in 2019, they stopped the ticketer feed. They were paying for a ticketer feed, and they had a sort of free licenses. And I think it was around £5,000 per license.
Right. Did you get paid for your job though? Was that just a competition? I don't know how. Was it a mixture?
It was a competition, and I was promised further funding at the end of the competition final, and I never. I got the £1,000 competition money, but I never received the further funding for further work. And they just didn't want to engage. I
mean, I don't know where we're going with this interview, because we've moved on years. Another company, a UK sort of app came along late after you.
This is what I've been told through the tender process and the recent tender.
Yeah, but there was one after you, wasn't there? I mean, when you finished,
Ticketer, yes,
that's the UK thing. So I had to download that.
Yes, well, I think this app had been in the pipeline whilst the competition was running. So I think they were just trying to produce a stopgap in the meantime, but they hadn't said this at the time.
You wonder why, but that's another. Again, we'd love to talk to somebody, Ian Longworth or somebody about this to get both sides of the story. But I can only go on what you're saying, and I know you did that competition. It was there. Then this UK one's been in place, but then that's come to a halt as well, didn't it? 'Cause something happened during lockdown or something.
I think again they wanted to charge for the app, and they were using the ticketer feed, so there was an expense there. It wasn't free.
So at the minute, we're probably the only place that hasn't got a decent tracking device on our buses, which could be done pretty quickly by the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, I could bring my app back into service, within a week or two.
When you saw Tom's interview, what did you think?
I thought he'd done a good job, and it was, it was nicely laid out, and
right. So when he said free, though, I couldn't believe.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, it couldn't get any better than that as a deal, could you? But
he's making a bit of a rod for his own back. But
yeah. But it must be annoying. And I did mention about you because you think, well, hang on, there's already one there. It's been there. It could be brought back pretty quickly, I'm guessing, and with a few modifications, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I could reskin it and make it as they want it.
Okay, you've done an FOI on a few things. Let's be careful what we go around here, though, because you're trying to find out what's going on, haven't you?
Sure.
What is going on?
I'm not really sure. I put an FOI in the funding of Mictor, who was running the competition, and it turned out they'd been sort of getting £10,000 a month for the last 4 years.
That's what you found in your FOI. So this is factual information.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
£10,000 a month. Right.
And they were meant to be an independent trade association.
Okay. Have you been able to take that any further?
No. Well, I think Mictor as an entity has closed down.
Oh.
So, but there's still things going on in the background.
Right. Now there was a tender recently.
Yeah.
Tom said he missed that because he didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Did you know about that one?
I only knew about it because I was reading through the tenders on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Right. Did you apply?
I did apply, and there was 5 sections, and I produced a requirement for every section as they wanted within the tender.
Was it quite heavy going? Tender?
Yeah, it was. They wanted a lot. They wanted it very quickly, within sort of 3 or 4 months, and I never heard back for about 12 days, even though they wanted it started on, I think it was like the 1st of April. So I approached the tender process and asked what was happening, because we were already running over time, and they said that I hadn't been awarded the tender, and it had gone to someone else, and only through a phone call I'd found out that it was awarded to a UK company.
Oh, so we know that then? You've been told that?
I've been told that.
This doesn't seem to add up in a lot of places, and people will be frustrated, not just you, but people here in the Isle of Man thinking, surely this could have been gone to an Isle of Man company. I'm guessing it was down to price then, maybe. I mean, it's a tender process. You won't know what they put in for, I suppose.
That's right.
You don't know,
I was sent a redacted spreadsheet, but I mean...
I know there's a few MHKs who are really keen on this story, by the way. So this is sort of something, I don't know, they're running out of time, but it's got a few things that need clearing up. Let's be polite about this. There seems a little whiff about it, which could be presumably explained very easily by someone at Bosvan, and what's happened, how it happened, rather than being kept under wraps. And I think that would be fair for everyone's point of view.
Oh, definitely.
You'd like to know how different the tenders were.
Yeah.
And would that information ever come available normally?
I think not really, not with the current process. I think you'd have to sort of produce an FOI request.
Right. So is there any more you can do on this? I mean, by coming public, of course, you're probably burning your bridges. I told that to Tom as well, because no one's going to like this in government. No. You're talking about it, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Whistleblowing is almost like we're dealing with here. But you feel hard done by?
I do. I put a lot of work in the original app, and it never went anywhere. I had the interview and, sung everyone's praises.
You did.
So I did as much as I could, and I was approachable. And
on the positive side, you're not at work. You're a very good gaming man. I believe.
I'm working for a gaming company.
You've done some big stuff. I don't know if you want to say, but you've done some impressive stuff.
Before I moved over, I worked for the directors of the Tomb Raider franchise.
Wow!
And we were doing DVD games, and one of them sold 600,000 copies.
So you know what you're doing in program
terms,
by the sounds of it. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add on this? I mean, is that the story? I know we have condensed it a lot.
Yeah.
But
I think we've covered the
frustration is must be.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable, really.
Let's hope we can get a response and maybe find out where it all happened, and maybe that gives everyone a bit of closure on this one.
Definitely.
Yourself and Tom, really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anything's going to come with my app now, but yeah.
And if nothing else, the public would like possibly to see where the buses and trams and horse trams and anything else is.
Sure, I mean, it's a public service, and there are many other things going on at the moment that are being promoted, and this is something that everyone on the island can use.